Hi, welcome to Women of Substance today. This is so interesting. I really think you're going to like this podcast because I haven't really interviewed anyone along these lines, and I think it's so needed. So today I'm going to interview Melissa Hafliger, and she is an Optavia coach, which, if you're not familiar with that, that is a wellness coach, and she helps people lose weight and keep it off. So she's a wonderful Christian woman. She went through weight loss herself and lost, I think she said 80 pounds. And this was years ago and kept it off. And so she can really help with this area that sometimes seems like so many of us struggle with. So I think you'll really like this. It's not condemning, it's not intimidating, it's just some really practical things that she shares. And then she tells us how to get in touch with her if you need a one-on-one coach. And it doesn't matter where you live. It can be, she said her furthest client lives in Alaska. So there you go. But anyway, listen carefully, be blessed today, and I think you'll learn a lot. Well, welcome to Women of Substance today. I'm thrilled to have Melissa Hafliger. Today we're going to focus on her teaching on wellness and nutrition and how to lose weight. Don't you love that? I think as Americans, just kind of across the board, Melissa, we all are pretty interested in that.
Thank you so much, Charlotte, for having me today. I'm very excited to be here.
Good. I had heard about Melissa through a friend at my church. And when she told me a little bit about what you're doing, I got so excited because I really haven't had the opportunity to interview anyone on this subject and along this line. And I think it's so very important to all of us to stay healthy. You know, I think there's a difference in trying to lose weight just to, be prettier or be, more attractive. That's fine. I'm not against that. However, I think it's so important just to stay healthy, don't you?
Definitely. Yeah. It's not about vanity like it used to be in the 80s and the 90s. I think that part of it is as our seasons of life change and our priorities get redirected and health becomes much more of an internal experience versus an external gratification.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely.
So before we get into all the things that you're presenting today, tell our audience about your relationship with the Lord and how you kind of came to know the Lord.
Okay. It's an interesting and kind of difficult question that honestly, I was born and raised Catholic and grew up in a Catholic household, attended Catholic services regularly, but that kind of fizzled out in my late teens, early 20s, as I think that it does for a lot of young adults. And it really wasn't until I was married. My husband and I had our first child. We had a daughter, and we made a decision together that we needed more to raise our family, to complete our commitment to each other, and to raise a family the way we thought was best. So thankfully, my husband was right with me, and we joined a local church, and then soon after, about 2 years later, had our second child and brought them up in that community. And then it feels like years passed in the joy and appreciation in all of those things as that relationship. However, I began to kind of lose the connection between Christ and myself. And it really, then I turned 40, another big monument for a lot of women.
Yes.
And I discovered that, hey, there's more out here for me that I just haven't connected with. And it's really been in those last few years that I've taken specific intentional time to have prayer and moments with God, myself. In fact, it's just my husband over summer had recreated or created a garden in the front side of our house. And it wasn't for this purpose, but since then I have designated it my private prayer zone.
Oh,
So I go there, and I made a commitment to myself and the Lord that when I go and I sit there, I'm going to pray out loud, because I want people to see. I want people to know that this is who I am, and there's no shame in it. I think that
yeah.
sometimes we hide in
Yeah.
our cover of Christ and the Holy Spirit, but I'm done hiding.
I think that's wonderful.
That's it.
I love that. And
Yeah.
um, I know in your biography, you talk about, of course, your former career being a school teacher
Yes.
and starting a Fellowship of Christian Athletes at the request of a student in your classroom.
Yeah, it was fabulous. And it was a brand new student to me. She came up to me, was 101% in adoration of her pastor. And she said, "Hey, Miss Hafliger, why aren't we doing this? Why don't we have some kind of Christian club?" And with public schools, in order to have a club like that, it has to be requested by the student. And I
Yeah.
thought, okay. And she was, as I said, completely just enamored by her pastor. So she connected me with him. And, immediately he reached out. We were able to bring the club into the school, got paperwork done. And I will tell you, it's that bringing that into a public middle school is
Mhm.
heartwarming. And then
Yes.
that relationship went on for years. And actually, his wife, the pastor's wife, was the one that introduced me to my newest health coaching venture, and we've stayed connected ever since. But bringing on the Fellowship of Christian Athletes into my classroom as a teacher led me to seek out other teachers,
Yeah.
because let me tell you, teaching it's not for everybody.
Right.
It's
No.
a rough gig, and to not have support
Right.
um, is troublesome as well. So I reached
Yeah.
out to fellow teachers and asked, I opened my classroom to morning prayer, and I was overwhelmed by the amount of teachers that would come and share. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes it was prayer and sometimes it was just time fellowship together.
Sure.
And that has continued since, and I've cycled through different, I'm going to say friends, prayer partners. You change schools and you move careers and such. And we
Right.
still meet at a local coffee
Oh,
shop, and we
nice.
have that community because it's intense and it's intentional.
Yes.
And it's so reassuring and grace giving to know that you have a connection. And I really think that being in the season of life where I am, and my children are teenagers, and I'm finally getting that open door to myself
Yes.
in discovering how valuable that spiritual friendship really is. So those friendships are hugely important to me, for sure.
That's so neat. What
Mhm.
a wonderful avenue that
Yeah,
you opened up. And, that's sometimes that's just what God is looking for, is someone to open the door. And then he just comes in and blesses and helps and
definitely.
strengthens. And so
Mhm.
wonderful, wonderful. So then you have been in kind of health coaching um, for years now, because at first you were with Weight Watchers.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am. Yes,
tell me
I
about
have. You can see this picture behind me. Long time ago, I had joined Weight Watchers as a client, and I lost about just over 80 pounds
Wow.
and about 17 months. And I loved it. I will
Yeah.
tell you, the transition in your body, mind, and soul when you lose any weight, it
Yes.
doesn't matter if it's 5 pounds or 50 pounds, 80 pounds, was tremendous. And when I made that success, my coach at the time was retiring, and she said, "Hey, we could use, somebody new out here." And so I took on the leadership role as a Weight Watchers counselor and I did that for 20 years through the
Wow.
birth of both of my children.
Mm.
Um, and it absolutely fabulous. Again, then I hit 40. The 40 seems to be the changing point for me. And I discovered that that program at that time wasn't working for me. Still works, absolutely fabulous. I love it. However, through my pastor's wife, Sandy, I was led to Optavia. So now I work as a full-time one-on-one health coach. The difference being that rather than group discussions and group support system, I offer a one-on-one nutritional, and we get together and I can now connect you specifically to nutrition that helps you and exercise if you want to. So that's, but yeah, Weight Watchers led me through a lot of interesting journeys. You learn a lot about yourself and a lot about other people. Anytime you're working face to face with the public, and it's been eye-opening for many reasons.
Yeah. Can you give us some ideas of why maybe Americans tend to be so overweight, or, obesity is so prevalent?
I think that ultimately for adults, we tend to hold on to weight because it's either mostly, I'm thinking, fear, shame, and guilt.
Wow.
When we hold on to fear, shame, and guilt, we hold on to weight. Because food is one thing that we can control. Exercise is one thing that we can control.
Right.
And sometimes we use it to mask things. If you're afraid of being able to accomplish something, some people are just afraid of success. When you're afraid of that, fear is a huge factor. Shame, if you are embarrassed of something you've done or something that's been done to you, if you're carrying shame for things that you can't do and you wish that, if you don't see yourself in the mirror, if the mirror looks different than what the public sees you, if you're carrying some shame in that manner. And then a lot of times it's guilt. I've been there, done that, tried and failed.
Right.
And nobody wants to fail again.
Yeah.
So, I do think fear, shame, and guilt literally weigh heavy on us. But in the realm of food choices in nutrition, we are overwhelmed with information, and we are overwhelmed with convenience. And you go, driving anywhere from point A to point B, you're going to pass a million different options to stop at. And they're going to be inexpensive, you think, because what we don't really internalize is, though, this quick stop is something that's going to be, we think, inexpensive. It's going to come back to get us in our health, in our doctors, in our prescriptions. But sometimes I think it's not a lack of information, it's a lack of knowledge. And those are two different things. Okay. Definitely two different things.
Yeah. And I think that I am a therapist, a counselor, and I'm a little bit shocked, even though I am, that you would say fear, guilt, and shame, because I thought you were going to say the availability of food and us overeating.
I think that starts it.
Yeah.
Charlotte, I do think that starts it. And then we roll into habit loops.
Right.
And then sometimes once the habit loop starts, that's where the fear, shame, and guilt come in.
Oh, well,
and then, if you've been doing the same thing for so long, you've got to do something that interrupts that loop.
Yes.
And change something. Speaking generally of people in their adult years now, teenagers, child weight gain is a whole different issue. And I would never point fingers at parents and school lunches and family. I think it's everything.
Sure.
I think it's a piece of everything. And social stigma and some of the pressure that these children are under is tremendous. But an obvious, quick, not easy, but an obvious, quick tip is to make sure you have good, valuable nutrition at home.
Yeah. Right.
And then because we can't control what they eat when they're not with us.
Right.
We can be a role model. We can offer best choices.
Sure.
But ultimately, we can't control. So it really is, that's what I'm saying. It's the difference between information and knowledge.
Right. That's really good.
Yeah.
And I think that we do take on a lot of what our parents did and how they uh, prepared meals or the lack of there, the lack
Yeah,
of
for sure. Convenience.
or how we sat and ate at the table, or the snack food that they had. Maybe I think that maybe affected me more than even my friends. And later on, I always would revert back to my childhood.
Yes.
Potato
Well, it's
chips, ice
comfort
cream.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's what you know. If it was good enough for mom and dad, then it's got to be okay for me.
sure. Yeah,
And then sometimes it's not even thought about. How many times have you walked through the grocery store and then you get to the checkout and you're like, how did that get in my cart?
right.
I have
Exactly.
no idea. Well, it's just, and you've heard, I'm sure, the best place to shop in the grocery store is the perimeter so that you
Yeah,
get the produce but let's be honest, there are some things we need down those aisles too. So
sure.
you have
Yeah,
to kind of have that guard up.
yeah. Well, that's good information, and I think it is for parents setting an example with your own eating habits. I know
Mhm.
both. I'm so proud of both my daughters because they have done what you've said. In the house, they have fruit and
Yep.
vegetables,
Mhm.
and that's what they suggest for snacks. And the children they've accepted that.
Right.
I don't know if they've always liked that, but they've accepted it, and
Mhm.
they've had success in their young lives with being pretty healthy and healthy
That's great.
weights. And so I think that's a great point, is especially for parents. And then grandparents, I think we should, as a grandmother, I try to kind of follow her leading my daughter
Yeah.
with, or both my daughters actually, with what they suggest, and not say, let's go get ice cream and hot fudge sundaes and
Yeah.
and
And
just
I know that's difficult for grandparents. I will include
yeah.
my parents in this because, it's all about what can we get away with at grandma's house? And I love it. I adore it. So, in one day, God willing, I'll be there too and I can make those same mistakes, but that's a different story.
For sure.
Yeah.
And just the amount of sugar that is hidden in foods that we wouldn't even think about. Because we think sometimes, well, if we don't eat dessert, we're
Mhm.
okay. But there's a
Right.
lot of hidden sugar, isn't there? And the carbs
And
are
right. And the timing of when we eat, not just how much or what we're eating. Your body works as a furnace. And
mhm,
the old story about you can't drive the car unless there's gas in it,
right.
okay. But you know what? The car drives better with better gas. And the car
Yes,
drives better with the gas and the oil change,
right.
with all of the regular maintenance. So you have to be thinking about what can I do to get my metabolism moving early in the day and keep it. And, honestly, to do that, you have to have breakfast. You've got to
Right.
wake up and have something, and then some kind of movement. And I don't mean extreme exercise, but some kind of intentional movement throughout your day.
Yeah.
Because sitting still for too long, ask any massage therapist or chiropractor, there's issues with that. But
Right.
just to get up and get things moving.
Yeah.
As far as sugar content in food, I love the idea of reading labels, but I have to be honest with you. Sometimes the labels are overwhelming,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, so I know that, the things that are definitely sugars and sweetened and those things that we need to avoid. But, we also have to consider, and I know you had mentioned fruits and vegetables, fruits are fabulous to a point.
Right.
If you are only eating fruit, you need to watch out and consider some vegetables. Like,
Right.
the program that I coach with now, what one of the best pieces of it is that all of the nutrition is done for you already. I don't have to, when I'm speaking to friends, family, and clients, I don't have to tell them that you're weighing, you're measuring, you're counting macros, and you're doing all these pieces because the nutrition piece is already done. It is a pre-portioned, pre-packaged give to you so that you can work on the mind piece
Oh,
that
that's
will help you continue to not just lose weight, but we
mhm.
want you to be healthy because we talked about that vanity piece and it's fabulous. Because I think when you look better and feel better, you do better and think better.
Yes.
But that's not the whole thing.
Right.
If the insides, because we have all met and have friends and family in our lives who on the outside are thin and appear healthy and appear to make good choices. But on the inside,
Yeah.
we know that that's not it. So unless you've got your head in the game,
Yeah.
knowing the nutrition that you're putting into your body and the nutrition you're putting into your soul,
Right.
it's not going to make a difference. At least it's not going to make a permanent difference. And
Right. Yeah.
that's the important piece when you're talking about weight loss or lifestyle change. Because, again, those are different parts. And depending on the season you are in your life, they hold different value to you.
Right. For sure.
For sure.
So tell us how if someone today's listening and they're thinking, I need to get with her because I need help with this, some serious help. Tell us how they could do that. And then tell us kind of how they would get started with you. What would you say to them? Would you do an evaluation?
Yes.
An
Yep.
assessment?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram. You can just look up Melissa Hafliger and you will find that. As far as getting started, we do, I coach with my husband. So when I say we,
Okay.
we do a health assessment. And honestly, what that does is we talk about if you have any allergies, if you have any special medical conditions that are of concern first. And then
Right.
we like to catch your dreams. I want to talk to you about where you see yourself and
Right.
why. And for some people, it's a healthy weight that they've been in the past that they want to come back to.
Right.
So, we talk about what was different then that is now and how we can make that transition and get the bridge back.
Right.
For many people, it's something they've never even fathomed. And we have to imagine for them
Right.
what health will look like in 3-6 months. Because short-term goals are the best. You get to them faster.
Yeah.
You can celebrate faster because victory is a fabulous trampoline, not even a stepping stone. It's a trampoline to success.
Right. Yeah.
So we go over the health assessment and quite honestly, I'll walk you through when you are at your goal, when you are at your health goal, what do you look like?
Yeah.
How do you feel? And a lot of people overlook this, but I also say, who are you with?
Mhm.
And what are you doing? What are you talking about? Because that matters. And I'm not here to say sometimes people get in and they add toxicity to your life and you need to get rid of friends. No. But sometimes we need to regroup and surround ourselves with a like-minded community that's going to be supportive. I've had so many friends and clients in the past 25 years who have come to me and said, you are the only one that knows I'm trying to get healthy.
Yeah.
And I tend to ask them why.
Yeah.
There's fear in letting other people know. And you know what? It's not that. I want to, if nothing else today, I want people to think that there is freedom in letting people know. There's accountability in letting people know.
Mhm.
And there's support in places you wouldn't even know there is.
Yeah.
So that's a huge thing. But as far as finding me, definitely Facebook or Instagram. I'm sure you will offer the links as well. And the link for the health assessment. And that comes directly to me. I'm the only one that sees it.
Yeah.
And I would then have a private conversation, just a one-on-one to see, what is your goal right now for your life.
Right. And they don't have to be here in Tampa.
No, ma'am. No. What's on is the furthest away client that I've had was Alaska.
Oh, nice.
Hey, that's totally awesome. No, because you know what? We can do Zoom conversations, phone conversations. It's all good. When you need support, you get it.
That's great.
Uh-huh.
And I like that you have been through this experience because there's a picture behind you, and I think we'll get one on the screen of kind of a before and now picture.
Uh-huh.
And you've not only lost what you wanted to, but you've kept that off. And I think that those, because so many of us through the years have lost, and gained it back and lost and gained it back. And
Uh-huh.
it can be, cyclical.
And,
But
and
it's,
the piece that, sorry to interrupt you, the piece that really has kept me connected is the
yeah,
community. I
yeah,
have stay with the community. It's when you think that you don't need the help, it's when you need the help.
right,
And
yeah,
I've heard this said, many people have said this before. Yeah, you become most like the 5 people you spend most of your time with. So
right,
I surround myself with people that are going to be supportive.
yeah,
And not to say I don't have people that think I do things differently. That's
yeah,
fine. It's all good. But
sure,
the people that I value
hmm,
are people that value me. And if you're going to value me, you're going to value my health choices.
right.
Mhm.
Well, I think that's good because I know that through the years, when I've said, "Well, I'm watching my weight right now," I've had people say, "You don't have to
Right.
watch." They'll kind of
Yep.
talk you out of it or talk down about it, and I'm thinking, "Wait, no, I know what I need." But
Yeah.
you can get that through people, and so I know. And in those cases, I would not even say anything. I would just say, "Oh, I'm just not very hungry today," and leave it
Right.
at that.
Yeah. And you learn the techniques of, that, and people mean well. I
Sure, of
definitely
course,
know that we mean well, but you don't know what's going on internally for me in my health.
right,
So that's the thing. And we don't know genetically what you might be up against.
right.
So, if you have diabetes in your family and you want to
Mhm.
fight against that, because, we're talking generational change. What kind of legacy
Yes.
do you want to leave for your family? Do you want to be
Right.
just another one on that list?
Yeah.
Or are you going to break through those chains and to be determined to make a change for your family? It's really,
Right.
hmm
It is true. It's so
yeah,
true. And, kind of a catalyst, even if you're, maybe you're not married or you don't have children perhaps, but, you have siblings or
right, mhm,
friends that you could be a catalyst to and influence, and I think that's a
definitely,
wonderful thing. One of my friends, I got that from one of my friends actually, who, years ago, she was, extremely obese, and she, just determined that she wasn't gonna live, unhappy because it made her very unhappy,
okay,
and, she said, "Plus, I wanna be a catalyst for, my friends and some of the ones that I know need to be healthier as well." So,
definitely,
I thought that was kinda neat that she thought that way, and it is true, isn't it? You can be an
oh, for
influence
sure,
and an
yeah,
inspiration. Maybe you don't even know you are, but
right.
you definitely are.
Yeah,
So
I have a mentor in my group that, as because I have a coach, I am a coach, she has a coach, they have a coach, we're just this huge thing. And she had said, our program changes you, but our
mhm.
community heals you.
Oh, that's good.
I know. I'm like, oh, that and that is truth.
Yeah,
Community heals.
right. That's beautiful, Melissa. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about that I have not thought about or
Just to note that I did recently start my own podcast.
Oh,
So
good.
if you want to listen, and I'm on Castbox, which you can get from any of your podcast apps, and then you just search "My Faith Fitness with Melissa," and
Okay.
that's me.
My
So,
Faith Fitness with
with
Melissa.
Melissa, correct?
Okay, very nice. Well, I certainly appreciate all this information, and I know that there's gonna be ones that give you a ring or call or
I hope
email.
so. I hope so. I love to help, and if nothing else, just make new friends. Right?
Well, sure. Of
Yeah,
course. Yes. Thank you so much.
fabulous.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you,
God bless.
Scarlett. Have a great day.
You too. Well, there you go. If you need help, there's help available. And aren't you glad that there's Christians? And Melissa uh, is stressing the importance of you being where you want to be, and the of course health and wellness part of it, instead of just, oh well, I need to fit into a size 0 or or 2 or whatever. Sometimes we put undue pressure on ourselves, but thank God for wisdom, and I know that since her experience and her life with the Lord now, those two things coupled together would be a wonderful influence for you if you want to get in touch with her. And I encourage you to today. So until next time, God bless you. And I just encourage you to follow the Lord, be inspired by God to fulfill your destiny, and also listen to the podcast. We have quite a few archived, and then we have quite a few coming up that are just going to be so inspiring to you. So remember, Women of Substance, and tell other people about this podcast. God bless you. Well, thank you for tuning in today to this podcast. We have another one coming up. In fact, it's every other week, the first and third Friday. Hopefully this has spoken to you. If you would like to, we have a magazine. It's called Grace and Faith Journal, and it comes out once a quarter, and we'd love to send that to you. It has interesting articles, and then it tells what we're doing at Horton Ministries International to help people and to minister people around the world. If you want to email us at office@scarletthorton.com, then you can give us your address. We can send you our Grace and Faith magazine. And if you're in Tampa, Florida, come see us at Grace Harvest Church. We pastor a local church here. But we mainly want to pray for you and encourage you. So again, if you need prayer, email us for prayer. We'd love to do that. And tune in next time. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.